Rolling with the triple C, I'ma make him bend the knee. Rolling with the triple C, don't really get the heat.
This is Khamzat Chimaev gourmet Chechen hat.
It's his hat. He brought it to the studio.
Yeah. So, he left here?
Yeah. Been trying to give it to this guy for like 3 months.
No way.
Nah, Paulo. Paulo. Well, now he's never gonna have
My laugh is so good. Oh, damn, Paulo. I think
No,
this
it's
is
from his
what.
cousin. It's from his cousin.
God. Oh my God.
That's fighting words, bro. Jesus. Oh,
For Chimaev?
oh man. This is.
for him.
Oh, man. Paulo boy.
Wow.
And then he smells it.
I'm not touching that thing.
Paulo Bohashinia might be the new real king of cringe, dude. Jesus. So UFC 294 is right around the corner. Or better yet, maybe it's not right around the corner, but we're talking about October 21st. You know, the fights were just announced. Islam Makhachev versus Charles the Bronx 2. And not just that, but co-main event, we're going to have Khamzat Chimaev, the Wolf, versus Paulo Bohashinia, Paulo Costa. Guys, this fight card is going to be really, really good, according to the different story that they're actually going to have, too, because, you know, I would like to maybe start off with the co-main event. I know typically, because these guys in the main event already fought, but I would like to start the co-main event, because the co-main event, there's some drama, guys, and I think that's what the UFC loves them, and I think that's what and I think that's the same reason why they're probably pulling Paulo Costa for Bohashinia, the Eraser, aka Secret Juice, out of this next UFC fight card that's coming up on I want to say on the 29th, on July 29th, so that he's been pulled off from that card, and specifically to fight Khamzat Chimaev. How is it that I see that matchup, besides the drama, besides that altercation that they had at the UFC PI about 4 months ago? I love this matchup. I mean, I think this matchup is going to be the next person that more likely is probably going to get the title fight at 185 pounds. You know, I don't know how is it that they're actually going to work it, especially right now with the winner of this fight. But how is it that I break this fight down? Khamzat Chimaev, a guy with tenacity, a guy that loves to grapple, a guy that loves to throw hands, a guy that was at 170 pounds and has the ability to go up to 185 pounds and have a lot of success. But that being said, he's going up to middleweight against a real middleweight, against a big middleweight, against a middleweight that should probably more likely be light heavyweight to possibly even heavyweight. If you have any idea how big Paulo Bohashinia gets, it's crazy. I know him. I know them both personally. I'm a lot closer to Paulo, but this isn't. You know, a lot of my breakdowns. I try not to make them biased, like at all. But the biggest challenge that somebody like Khamzat Chimaev is gonna have against a guy like Paulo is, could he take this dude down? Could he take this dude down? And could he actually hold him down? Because you guys have to keep in mind that Paulo's been dabbling in wrestling, training with Captain America. Captain Eric Oliveira now for years, him going out to Natal, searching for the best wrestling. He made him coming out to Arizona to polish up and brush up on some of that wrestling. And he's a big middleweight. And keep that in mind too, that at one point, Khamzat Chimaev did struggle to take down Gilbert Burns. And he also did get clipped with Gilbert Burns. Khamzat Chimaev has not gone 5 rounds. I don't believe this is a 5-round fight, but he hasn't gone past 3 rounds. The only time he's ever gone past 3 rounds was with Gilbert Burns, and that was 170 pounds, and it was a close fight. He did win that fight. He did get it. But how is it that he's in a matchup against a big middleweight, a guy who could defend, a guy who fought Yoel Romero and Paulo Bohashinia, to be able to defend them and defend them nicely, technically, where, keep in mind, Yoel Romero is a Olympic silver medalist, for crying out loud, and he couldn't take down Paulo Bohashinia. In other words, what I'm trying to say is, what other tricks does Khamzat have other than his grappling? He does have great striking and great stand-up, but were he able to also hang with the Eraser, because the Eraser also has great striking and great stand-up. And Paulo has gone against the biggest middleweights in the UFC and has been able to win and actually go the distance with these guys. You know, I love this matchup. There's a lot of trolling going on as you see Paulo Boachinha, you know, putting the face of Khamzat Chimaev with some big booty girl in the UFC. I mean, it's entertaining. When I saw the announcement of Paulo Boachinha versus Khamzat Chimaev, I'm like, yes. I'm like, why didn't the UFC make that fight sooner? But I love the fact now that it's gonna be in October. It's actually gonna happen. If Paul doesn't get hurt, I think this fight's gonna be dynamite. You know, sometimes Paul tends to train extremely hard, which we're always trying to kind of reel him back. But either way, the dude is nasty. If I had to pick somebody, I typically always go with the wrestler. But when you see a big middleweight like Paulo, who has hands, who has great defense, and even if you can take him down, who has great jiu-jitsu, Paulo Boachinha's jiu-jitsu is extremely underrated. When you get a big guy like that, and you get a guy like Khamzat Chimaev, and you put these two dudes together, you're going to see fireworks. Whether this fight goes a distance, or whether Paulo gets a knockout, or whether Khamzat Chimaev edges out the win. But if I had to really pinpoint somebody who I probably give the edge to as of right now, I'm going to give it to Paulo. I'm going to give it to Paulo because he's fought bigger and tougher competition than Khamzat. And this is the first step for Khamzat to eventually, you know, start going up and really testing himself with not just middleweights who fight in the UFC, but literally title contenders and Paulo Boachinha. So it's gonna be a good fight. If I'm Khamzat Chimaev, I'm looking to maybe make this fight nasty, maybe clinch him, be in his face, not give Paulo, any space, and looking for the takedown, looking to control, looking to, start the Dagestani style of wrestling. And then if I'm Paulo, you bring the fight right away. You bully him. Paulo has conditioning for 3 rounds. Paulo will go from the first to the third extremely hard, especially when it comes all that trolling how much is on the actual line, and especially if maybe a contingency could be there. I mean, both these guys would go out there and go for the kill. But again, guys, if I'm to give somebody the edge, and I'm talking about as of right now, I gotta give it to Paulo. As much as I like Khamzat, just based on defense, size, and power. And now for the main event, this is Charles the Bronx versus Islam 2. I did a nice little breakdown on the potential rematch that was going to happen. But who is it that has the edge on that fight? Could Charles the Bronx make those transitions, or is it gonna be the same Charles the Bronx thinking it was just something mental? Because the reality is, it's probably a mixture of everything. It's a mixture of mental and technical and tactical. If you really think about it, it came out that he was saying, I wasn't feeling ready. That wasn't me. I wasn't out there. I wasn't there. Okay, I get the mind side of it, but what about the technical side of it with Charles the Bronx? Is he always gonna fight everybody the same, as good and as sharp as he is, as technical as he is? Because if you fight the same fight, you're gonna press a guy who understands, distance, who understands pressure, who has great takedowns, who has great top control with ground and pound. He's gonna be in trouble. But if Charles the Bronx could really make those adjustments, kick, move, take a little bit of Volkanovski, getting up sooner rather than later, and I can see it being a different fight. I mean, these are a lot of questions that need to be answered, because I do believe Charles. I do believe Charles that he wasn't there. I really do. I think the lights, the Khabib thing, like having this fight in Abu Dhabi, because if it's the same Charles with the same game plan, he's in trouble once again. He's in trouble once again. But I also think that, you also want to question is Islam, after that fight with Volkanovski, is his confidence still? Remember, confidence is everything, guys. You cannot be the most. You cannot be so technical. You cannot be so tactical. But your confidence is really what It's really what makes you you. And you have to kind of have the ability to kind of put that together. You know, are you able to feel really confident even though you had a close fight against Volkanovski? Is that fire, is that burn of you proving yourself still there? Do you still have that little bit of that chip on your shoulder? Because I haven't really seen Islam talk a lot. You know, if I had my choice of the fight between Islam fighting Charles or Islam fighting Volkanovski, I would definitely go Islam Volkanovski, because I think the firepower that Volkanovski's bringing to the table, especially the way that he finished Yair and the way he's just been fighting, the close fight that he had, I think these guys need to run it back. I don't know why the UFC should wait. When you get such a close, controversial fight, not necessarily controversial, but when you get a close fight like Islam and Islam and Volkanovski, you gotta have the ability to be able to run that stuff back like right away. Like that stuff should be immediate. You shouldn't have to wait to see, you know, to have these other guys fight. You know, and if I'm in Volkanovski's shoes, you need to be a little more vocal, man. You need to be a little more vocal out there, and you know, if you do decide to maybe be the alternate, you know, if he's willing to fight, become the alternate in that fight. I think things always happen. You know, people always get hurt, and you did it last time. I think you can do it again. But other than that, man, Volkanovski's doing a hell of a job, man. I got, you know, nothing but respect for that dude. As much as I call him Alexander the Average, you know, the dude could fight. And the dude right now is the most experienced, the best guy in mixed martial arts as of today. So there you have it, guys. That is the breakdown. UFC 294, October 21st in Abu Dhabi is going to be lit. The fight that I'm most excited for, that's right, is the co-main event. I know sometimes we all search for the main event, but sometimes the co-main event is the people's main event, and I'm excited for that fight. Paulo Costa versus, you know, Khamzat Chimaev. The trolling is real, and I'm excited to watch that. And then again, the main event with with Islam versus Charles Oliveira. It's gonna be fireworks. I'm excited to watch. Who knows? I may just be there. So thank you guys for watching. Triple C is out.